Hello, my name is Beverly Burris, and this is my studio in Houston. And I will be doing a floral painting today. I don't have much time. I have to clean my house. I need to go pick up my son. I have to finish my stock day trading. So this will be just a cute little sweet, fast painting. So I'm going to be starting with the background, and I have this beautiful turquoise that I'm going to do. It's really light, so I'm going to add that on real fast. And then I just have a little bit of this green. Where did it go? This green left, so I'm going to squeeze it out, get as much as I can. It's a really nice, almost like sap green. It's called hooker's green, but a lot of people like to call it sap green. It's very nice. It's like foresty, but not dark and blue like foresty colors. So I have a little bit of that left, so I'm going to squeeze it out and use it. And then I also have this turquoise that's darker, and I'm going to use that too. I'm going to get this gobbledygoob off. That's what I call those things on the paint when it dries. Gobbledygoos. I used to work in scenic art in Arizona when I was in my 20s and young and fresh. And every time I'd have to clean the buckets, because that's what you do as a scenic artist. You clean buckets, clean paintbrushes. And so while I was cleaning everything, I would call those gobbledygoos, and I would make like little towers of the gobbledygoos, and yeah. So that was a lot of fun when I was younger. So I still keep my gobbledygoos, and I peel them off the palette sometimes, because I mean, it's fun. So anyway, I'm gonna also add some yellow and maybe there's some gobbledygoos on here too. And then I'm gonna add some white. Titanium white's my favorite. There's all kinds of different colors that you can use. There's all kinds of different whites and blacks. It's all really the same. They just call it different colors based on like what brand it is. So I've got my background colors. I'm using this old palette, so this is what I'm using. I'm using yellow, white. I have my lighter turquoise, my darker, and then I also have some like true green, more like sap or forest, but it just doesn't have as much blue. So I'm going to use a lot of my yellow to add to the turquoise, just to make it a little bit more green, a little bit more natural, but also it's not natural because, you know, this is surrealism. So I'm gonna get started, and I'm gonna start with a wet brush, and I'm gonna get a larger brush. I don't have any larger brushes here, so let me go get a larger brush, because this is a larger piece of canvas I'm working on. So for this larger piece of canvas, we'll just need a little bit of a bigger brush. So I'm using this kind of flat one that I use to paint murals on walls and stuff, so it's just a little bit bigger because I have this 12 by 12, and I've been doing really small paintings because I do vending now. So when I go vend at conventions, it's just so much easier to bring the small tiny paintings. And yeah, man, my setup, my takedown, fast, lightning speed. So I'm gonna take this wet brush, and I'm just gonna add some green, and this turquoise green, this really dark turquoise green. And I'm just gonna fill in the spaces. Let me fix this. Okay. Okay, and I'm just gonna fill in, okay, well I guess this just doesn't wanna stay. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna fill in these spaces. And I'm gonna add water as I need to. Acrylic paint is water-based, so there's a few consistencies that I like to explain. There's like, this is what we learned in scenic art. There's like skim milk consistency, which is really, really thin, and you can let it dry and layer it, let it dry, layer it. And then there's like 2% is a little thicker, whole milk's a little thicker, cream a little thicker. So you can base it on kind of those consistencies, and then you can remember it that way next time you want to paint. So I've decided to just kind of fill the top with that, and then I'm going to go in and just add the lighter turquoise just to add some dimension. And then I'll go in with my more sap green on the bottom to create the illusion of different plants blending in together. Because man, when you do floral or like anything in nature, there's so much detail. So it's good to just kind of blend the colors together and make like sort of a reference on what that is. Because that's really all painting is making a reference to something that is. Whether it's in your own mind or in reality, it's there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of this turquoise just to suggest that maybe these plants are also here, and these, you know, so just different plants are hanging out together. And then as I get to the bottom, I do want it to be darker. So I'm gonna add this nice burnt umber to the painting on the bottom. And so I'm going to get a little bit of that brown, and I have not cleaned my brush off. So this whole time I've just been with this dirty brush. So I'm gonna add the brown with the green on there, just make it dirty. And then you can create some shadows on the bottom. Perhaps this is really thick with stuff, and this up here is pointing more towards the sky, so there's not as much foliage. You can just be really imaginative in that way. References are so easy. You don't really have to go into detail, especially if you're just making an expression. So right now I'm in a really great mood. You know, I had my birthday month, actually. It was really wonderful. I got to spend it with my family, my friends, all the people that have really come in my life this year. And it was kind of a hard year last year. So it was just really amazing. So I'm in just such a good mood. And so I want to create something that's happy and just really reflects what I feel inside. And so I'm going to cover the bottom with my dirty brush paint with all of that burnt umber. And so now I have filled the canvas. And I don't know how much time that took, but I think it took like 5 minutes. So I filled it in. So there we are. There's my base. And so now I'm going to clean off my brush. And then I'm going to keep referencing. But I want a thinner brush because now I'm going to start adding more details. So now I have the full, it's just filled up, don't have to worry about the background anymore. And so now I'm going to take one of these brushes right here. So I love these kind of brushes. I like filberts, I like round brushes, so I'm going to use a round brush this time. Filberts are like this, so filberts are my favorite, and also round brushes, just because filberts can create, you know, a round effect and like a straight line, just wherever you put your hand. And these are easy to navigate too, especially if you want to just isolate color. So these are my favorites to use for some of the details. So I'm going to dip my brush, get it wet, nice and wet, and then I'm going to add my yellow. I'm going to get some of my yellow, and I'm going to get a little bit of that sap green, that more natural green. I'm going to add it in so that that's just brilliant, bright, almost lime green. And it looks just super yellow and nice. I'm not going to add any white to it yet. And I'm just going to go through the brown, and I'm just going to sweep up to suggest that there's some really, really like larger plants in there, maybe some flowers, maybe somebody's planted a garden, you know, maybe this will be some sort of garden. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'll decide at the end of the painting what it will be called, what it is, what I've been thinking about. Sometimes I don't know where the stuff comes from. And at the end of paintings, I can kind of either make up or you know, realize where that came from. So I'm just going to keep adding this yellow, and I'm going to go on the bottom and kind of make little lines to suggest that there's lots of foliage here. And as you go up, the plants will get shorter depending on, or thinner depending on what kind of plant it is. So as you go up, you can see more of the tops of the taller plants and everything. You can't see as much down here. So this is why this is so dark, and that's why I'm gonna add more streaks to the bottom to suggest that there's taller plants in there. So here I go. I'm gonna add really fast. I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think about, oh wow, you know, someone's gonna buy this based on the detail. I don't even wanna think about people buying this painting. I want to make a reference. I wanna make a suggestion about how I feel, and that's what I like to do. So I'm pretty much done with that. Now I'm gonna get my yellow again, and I'm gonna go in with my brown, my burnt umber. Ooh, that makes such a nice yellow ochre. Wow, see, this is yellow ochre. It almost makes like a yellow ochre, like a less orangey one. So I like that so much. And I'm not sure what that color would be called. Maybe really dark lemon yellow, or some sort of flesh if you added more brown. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna add this too, to suggest there's another plant that's just a slightly different color coming in as well. So I like to just stroke out, and I kind of like to switch out how the strokes are going. That way, you know, the plants go every which way, and I'm not gonna spend too much time adding the details to that. So now I think I'm gonna add a little black, because right here is a little less thicker. Oh, that's not black here. So I'm using, what is it? Carbon black. There's many different kinds of blacks. Some people really like Mars black, just because it seems more like authentic, I guess, like the real black. But there is no real black. It's all just black. So you can use whatever color you want. And I'm gonna go back to my, one of my mural brushes, and I'm gonna dip it again. And I'm going to get my black and a little bit of my burnt umber and mix it. And I'm gonna go up and down, and I'm gonna move my paintbrush this way, just like my other paintbrush was, except this one's bigger and thicker. So I'm gonna add it this way. I'm gonna add some to the bottom to suggest that it's just thicker down there. And I'm gonna make it go up. So this time, or in this part of my painting process, I'm going to kind of decide where I want the space to be. And so in this one, I think I want it to be really asymmetrical. On this side, I want it to be a little thicker. And on this side, I think I want to add flowers and make it just really beautiful. So right now, we're just really honing the background. We're on like maybe the third layer of the background. We're just getting that down. And as we get that, it will dry. And then we can start adding the midground, the highlights, the shadows, all of the details. So this is just basically the bottom of it. And so I'm gonna make the whole bottom really dark, and I'm gonna move my paintbrush the way I moved the other strokes up here. That way everything's kind of going the same way and in the same spot. And so like I said, I wanna just really make this asymmetrical. So I'm gonna add some darkness to suggest that there's plants kind of moving in. You know, sometimes I like to do this from both sides, but this time I wanna make it a little different. I wanna explore how it would be really asymmetrically. And trust me, if you want to sell your art, if this is something that you've decided is beyond a hobby, really anything that you paint, there's someone out there in this world that would just love it, because it's so special. Every time you put your paintbrush on the canvas or paper, whatever you're working with, it's so unique. Someone out there is just really gonna love it. There's someone out there. There's so many people in this world, and people buy like invisible paintings. I mean, come on, if you if you show your talent to the world, there's someone out there that just needs it, adores it. So I'm just gonna fill this in over here, and I'm even gonna kind of go on the top a little bit. Oh, that looks beautiful. I'm so happy with it so far. So now I'm gonna start adding a little highlight into the background. And so I'm gonna get my yellow, no white, just yellow. I'm gonna add it to the brush. And then I'm gonna go over here on the tops, I'm not gonna go into the darkness yet. I'm just gonna go onto the top, and I'm gonna make these rivals. I'm gonna make this the dark side and this the light side. So here I go, making this the light side. And oh, that's lovely. And I'm gonna just go to the tippy top with that too. Oh, I love it. And I'm gonna dip down in here to suggest this is just a little bit lighter. And I see that I've kind of went too far up here, so I'm gonna blend it down, because there are no mistakes in painting. You can't really make mistakes because you can always paint over the paint when it dries. I know a lot of art teachers, a lot of gallery owners hate that. They hate that you paint over your paint, but as an artist, I think it's okay. It's not taboo to do that to your own painting. I think painting over something you don't like is fine, just like in life. If you don't like something in your life, you can change it, just like a painting, you know. So now, you know, I really like this so much. So I'm gonna go with my black, and I'm gonna go and suggest larger plants. So I want to go in with my larger round brush, and I'm gonna dip it in some water, and I'm gonna go in with my yellow, and I'm gonna go in with my sap green. I'm gonna mix those together again. I know we did that before. And then I'm also gonna add just a little bit of black. And that's gonna mute it a little bit and make it kind of like shadowy. So look, yeah, it looks creamy. It looks more like it's filling up the page. And I'm just gonna go into these little parts that are just brown, and I'm gonna fill it in like little leaves, you know? And you can go up and you can create a stalk and go in with the leaves. So I'm really creating some of the good details now. So I'm just gonna go in and create this stalk, go in and create this stalk with the leaves. And it doesn't have, don't think about perfection. There is no perfection. Or if you like to be really philosophical, you can say everything's perfect and nothing's perfect all at the same time. And that's, I think, what makes our world so beautiful, is that we can make these mistakes, but the mistakes in themselves are just beautiful. So what I'm doing now is I'm just pressing my brush and making leaves. It's very easy, very therapeutic just to make the movement. The movement right now is really what I love, just the process. So the more I move, the more I love it. And so I'm gonna keep going with this sap green, and I'm gonna go in here, create little dots, create an illusion of just lots and lots of leaves, lots and lots of maybe stalks, and maybe there's some bugs hanging out in there, who knows. All right, so I love it. I love down here so far. So I'm gonna go up here now. So I'm gonna take my yellow, and I'm gonna take just a little bit of the white, and I'm gonna blend them together to make kind of like a lemon yellow. And I'm gonna do like I did at the bottom and create highlights on the plants to suggest that there's flowers, maybe. Maybe this is the beginning of our floral designs on this painting. So I'm gonna go in and just make little dots. Maybe there's some over here that don't quite all hit the light, so maybe it's a little duller. Right here's a little brighter. And if you get a little of the dullness and the brightness, it's okay, go back over it, because you can always paint over paint. It's something that's that you can definitely do. You don't have to be perfect. It's just yours. So I like this so far. I'm gonna go in with a little darker yellow, and I'm gonna fill in some patches on the bottom. So there I go, filling in those delicate, beautiful spots, blending into these little areas. And I'm still using the same brush. So that's my light side. Now I'm gonna go in a little bit in the background. So I'm gonna change up my brush. So far I've used 3 brushes. And now I'm gonna change it up and use a filbert, a small, I'd say small filbert. And I'm going to use white, and I'm gonna just kind of lighten this area up to suggest that there's clouds, maybe there's like maybe it's like a sunny day or it could be a cloudy day. You don't quite know where everything is. So I'm just gonna kind of sweep my brush, and I'm gonna keep it real thin because I wanna blend in the background and just make it lighter. Just to make suggestions of light around the clouds maybe around mountains, maybe around other plants or trees. I'm gonna go all the way up to the top. And I like it to be right here. Maybe that's where the sun is. Yeah, maybe that's where our sun is right there. So maybe I'll add a little yellow to suggest the sun. And I'm gonna go around it again with some white, just to make a suggestion. And it could look way different from mine. You can even have a circle there as the sun. You know, it's just like a little reference. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit more white over here because it's lighter on this side. And so I want it to look just kind of airy and nice. And oh my gosh, I love it so far. I'm just gonna blend, 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 blend. And then over here, I'm gonna start to add a little detail too. So I'm gonna go back to my smaller round brush, and I'm gonna wet it, of course. And I'm going to add that sap green with the yellow again. And I'm not gonna add that much yellow. So it should just look super, like maybe just a shade lighter. And then I'm just gonna go over here and suggest that these plants are moving outward. Like they're really long over here. They're getting lots of sun, but right now they're just kind of in the dark. And so right here would be a good place to add some plants over the sun, maybe. Maybe it's in a meadow and you're just looking out in the meadow and you're just enjoying it, enjoying nature. I grew up in Delaware, Arkansas, and you don't know where that is. So I'll tell you, it's in Northwest Arkansas. And I grew up in the mountains, and I grew up isolated away from people mostly. Because my dad suffered from lots of mental health issues, so he didn't like to be around people. And so I got a great appreciation for just nature. Of course, it's Arkansas, so of course it's just everywhere. How can you avoid it? But I love it. I love looking at it. I love imagining it in my own mind. And I'm just gonna make these streaks kind of go out in the middle. And if you lose that yellow color like I just did, you can add it again and just go over that spot. So it looks like it's circling in. So I really like that lighter green I made. So I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna go on the tops of these leaves. I'm just gonna detail it in. I'm not gonna think about it too much. I'm just gonna go on the tops, wherever the light would hit it naturally. I don't always go with what the light is in the paintings because sometimes I like the light coming from every which way. Like, who knows, is it morning, is it night, is it evening? I don't know, maybe the afternoon. Who knows what time it is? It's a surreal painting. Are you supposed to know what time it is? I don't think so. So I'm just gonna go in, and right here I don't like this. I don't like how it's so uniform. So I'm gonna go in and kind of break it up a little bit. There, that looks a little better for me. I don't like how realistic it was trying to look. So now I think I want to add some floral in there. I did some a little bit right here, but I want to right here. So I'm going to use this beautiful pink. What is it called? It doesn't have a name, but I got it from the dollar store, so I'm going to be sure to, mix it up real good. So I'm going to use this pink. It's really pretty. I'm also going to use this darker kind of like neon pink almost. I'm not sure what to call these pinks. They don't have a name on the bottle. It's cheap when you don't have a name on the bottle. So I'm going to put that there. And I may use this purple. I don't know. I'm going to leave that to the side. I may not use it. I also have blues, so I may not use them either. So I'm going to take this pink, and I'm going to use my largest round brush first. I'm going to make sure it's nice and dry. Wet it just a little bit, make sure it's nice and dry because I've used it so much. The ferrule right here is this part can get really saturated in water. That's why you can see that my handle is kind of deteriorating because I've had this for like 20 something years. So it's starting to deteriorate. I try to take really good care of my brushes, but they don't last forever. So the ferrule is really important. So you want to store your brushes like this. You don't ever want to store them like this. You never want to stick them in the paint water, because it'll just suck up into the ferrule and into the handle, and it'll start to like rot and stuff. So that's, you don't want that. So if you have a area where you can just kind of do that, or if you have those nice fancy, you know, paintbrush dryers, you can hang them up, but I don't have that. So I'm gonna just stick it in the pink, and I'm gonna get it nice and loaded. So we want lots of this paint to go over the paint in the background. And I'm decided that I'm gonna start on this really beautiful lighter side and suggest that maybe these are some sort of pink blue bonnet. So that's the shape I'm doing, just dots. I want to make it dreamy and hazy, as if you're almost maybe half asleep in the meadow and you're laying there looking out, just enjoying nature, the sounds, the smells, the feeling of the sun on your skin. That's the what I want right here. Those little magical kind of sleepy moments when I was little, I always remember those, and I remember them as being so surreal, because when you're little, you know, you're like, you fall asleep and your mom takes you to Target, and you're like, where am I? Kind of like those sleepy moments that I like to recreate. So now that I have a little bit of that pink, I'm going to go in with the darker with my dirty brush, so you can mix in the lighter with the darker, and then I'm just going to go on the dark side of those, maybe on the bottom here, since the light's going this way. But also you don't have to go with the light. Like I said, surrealism, you be as free as possible with what you're doing. So I feel pretty free right now doing this. So yes, I'm gonna keep adding that darker pink. I'm just gonna add it to this dark side, maybe down here. There's a lot more going on with pink. Add it in. Oh, it looks so great. And now I want to start on this bottom again. So I have this black, and I'm going to take it, and in the shadiest places, I'm going to add it so that there's lots more dimension. So yes, that's making a cute little trail, maybe in the meadow or something like that. Just to suggest it. Just a suggestion. So we'll just go in like this. Oh, I love it. This. And then I'm going to stop there with the blacks. And I'm going to start up here again. But now I'm going to start adding a little bit of what I like to call the twilight lights. It's those really fuzzy lights that you can see, almost like if you were little and you're in your mom's house and you could see like the dust particles in evening time when she turns out all the lights and the natural light comes in. That's what I'm going to try to create, something sleepy and dreamy. But before that, I'm going to add a little bit more white to my sun. And then I'll go over it again after it dries a little bit and make it more of a more solid. And so I'm going to go in with my white, and I'm just going to create circles. And maybe one right here. And if it blends together with the other paint, it's fine. Actually, is better because you want to create that hazy look. I'm gonna go in here too. I'm gonna go right here. And then maybe right here, there's some little hazy spots from the sun. And then I'm gonna go with and clean my brush off, get it nice and dry, and then I'm gonna blend. It looks like a bubble. I'm gonna blend all around it. Blend inside of it, blend it all together to just suggest dreamy particles. And so now that I have that, I'm going to take just a little of my white, and I'm going to make it really thin and dry. And I'm just going to go in these dark areas and suggest that there's these just little tiny particles, dust particles, and I want to kind of keep those together with the larger pieces. So I'm going to create some around here. And I'm also going to create some down here. Just little particles. And then I'm going to go in with my smaller round brush with the white. It's going to be clean and pretty damp. And so I'm just going to go and add circles around these. That, and then if you want to detail it around the bubbles, it looks a little more realistic, because around the light bubbles it's pretty sharp. So if you want to make it sharper, it'll look more realistic. And so, oh my gosh, I love this so far. So I'm just going to make it really just blend it in right here, because that's really inside of there. And I'm going to blend this a little bit. You can go and fix it. So now I'm going to go with my larger round brush, and I'm going to take my my pink, and I'm going to go in and create large floral pattern, like a flower. So maybe all my flowers are right here, bursting out, and I'm going to create it to be kind of thick to go over all the other paints. So yeah, I'm just going to go over this. I'm going to go over here and create some as well. Oh, I love it. Just one more right here. And then I'm going to go in with my yellow and do the same thing. Just create little suggestions. So maybe this flower is a little differently shaped. And you can look up on Google like how the flower is shaped, just the shape of it. You don't have to go into detail. We're just making the reference of a flower. So I'm going to go in here. Maybe the sun's a little bit brighter in that way. Maybe they've grown really tall, and so now they're sticking out up here. And so that's a good starting point for those. And now I'm gonna go with my smaller round brush and get that true sap grain and maybe a little bit of that yellow if you want it to be lighter. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna create stalks for all these little flowers that I created, because they need their own little source of nutrition, right? They all need to be their own entity. So I'm gonna create little stalks for them so you see it. And if it looks like it's in the background and blended, you don't have to add that. It's only for up here for these light areas. And so now that I have that, I'm gonna blend this in a little bit more. Oh, it looks so good. I love it. Blend that in a little more. And so now I'm gonna go in with an orange. This is a really cool orange. It's vermilion. It's more like red orange. Vermilion is a lovely color. It's my favorite red or orange. If I were to pick red or orange, it'd be vermilion. It's the best. And so I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna go in all the yellow ones and I'm just gonna put it in. So it's gonna look really red in the yellow. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with my yellow and I'm gonna go in the pinks with the yellow, so that they're just a little bit different. Yeah, and I can be thick about it. And I'm gonna get a little bit more of that vermilion and put it in this guy. And then I'm gonna take the vermilion and suggest that there's other plants that have that color over here, because it's just such a nice color. And I'm only gonna put it on this side. Maybe there's just a little bit of that plant over here. And I think this painting needs a little bit of blue. So I'm gonna add some blue as well to it. Let's see, where's my blue? Oh, I need to add some yellow to these guys. There you go, friends. So let me get my blue. And I think the blue will look really nice here and maybe here, just to fill in those gaps. So I'm using this kind of opaque cyan, C-Y-A-N. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but that's what I call it. That's that color. And it's almost like a primary blue. And so I'm going to mix it in with that turquoise green to create just the lightest, most beautiful, like bluebird blue. And then I'm going to go in here and just suggest that this plant's growing. Maybe it's some blue bonnets, or just in here. And then, yeah, maybe they're a little darker on that side. So you can create a little dimension with this. And I don't want everything going the same way, so I'll come over here as well with it. It looks like it might be all in the same direction, and that's what makes it unbalanced a lot of the time, is that it's so, in surreal paintings, if something's like really structured or something, it can look really cool, or it can look kind of strange. So for me, I like to kind of not make everything so construct. So I'm gonna go up here too, like I said, and create some of these blue flowers. And to create some sort of dimension with them, I am going to add a little bit of white to that dirty brush. And I'm just gonna go on the tops and add a little bit. Oops, I need a little bit more white. That's not light enough. I'm gonna add a little, just so I can see the highlight on the top. There we go. So it's a little blended, and you can break up that universal patterns that you had. You can break it all up, and it'll look a little bit more like a blue bonnet bush or patch or whatever you would like there. So I'm gonna blend it into this side, like all those blue bonnets got in this middle part, and then they kind of came over there. And I'm just gonna blend to keep that hazy look there. I'm gonna come over here and do the same thing. So that looks really nice. And I like it. And it looks really good. I'm gonna take that white with my dirty brush, and I'm just gonna kind of add over to the sides of our stalks to make it a little bit more brighter, to suggest the sun is on it. And then I'm gonna go with my green, my true green, and I'm going to add the yellow, and I'm going to go into the tops of the leaves over here just to blend in these flowers, create leaves on the flowers. Down here too. Yeah, and I like it so much. So now that the painting is kind of dry, I'm going to start completing it. I'm going to go in with my white and just make dots. Make little circles to suggest there's more light coming in. And I'm going to make my sun a little bit truer, a little bit more like it's there. I'm going to go around it with the swirly swirl, swirly swirl. And I'm keep doing my little dots. And going like this. So I will end up adding more highlights and shadows around my flowers. So I'm going to go in with my pink, but I'm going to add a little yellow and white to the pink. And I'm going to go on top of these and just go around them, around the edges. You can make so they're not so just the same. I go around the edges, suggest that there's a big highlight around it. Make them a little bit messy. It's okay to be messy with paint, you know? So I'm going to get a little bit of that burnt umber and yellow again, and then maybe some of the black to make it really dark brown. And I'm going to go around the edges of these flowers because they're dark in this corner right here, maybe in the middle a little bit, just to create some shadow. Maybe there's some leaves that are a little darker too that I can add. And then I'm going to go around these up here as well, like that. And on the bottom, you can make some darker leaves on the bottom. Go around this one too. And then we'll take a little white and go around the other side of the flowers. I think that looks really nice. And so go around the flowers. And now is the fun part, my favorite part. I'm gonna take this brush that I did the background with, I'm gonna wet it, get it really nice and wet, and I'm gonna go in with my white. It doesn't matter if there's other colors, like a little bit of blue, a little bit of green. See, I'm just blending it all, getting it really thick and messy and wet. And I'm gonna take it from the bottom, and I'm gonna take my fingers. If you wanna use gloves, you can, I just don't. And you spatter it. You see how I'm taking my finger? My finger is nice and wet with the paint, and I'm gonna go in the bottom, and I'm gonna spatter it. And you can be messy. Look at that, you can be messy. Take your time. You can go fast, whatever you want, whatever you really want. And so I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it to drip, and I'm gonna go up here now, and I'm gonna angle it this way, now that a lot of the paint is off, and I'm gonna get that sky. And I'm just gonna really spatter the sky, really blend everything together. If there is some drippy drips that you don't like, I'm gonna clean my brush off now, and if there's drippy drips you don't like, just go in and blend it. They don't have to be there if you don't want them. Just move it. Move it. So my painting is nearly complete. I spattered the top and bottom, and now I will probably leave it and add some details, perhaps like a bumblebee or a butterfly or a snail on the bottom to complete it, also with my signature. So this is basically a completed painting. If you don't want any foreground or anything like that, it's done. You just have kind of like a piece that's decorative or something like that. It doesn't have to always make a big statement, but I really enjoyed painting with you today. I really appreciate the time you take out to watch me, and I really love to paint. So thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all. Please look in the details for NerdCon. It's happening in Mont Belvieu, Texas. Sorry, I can't ever say it. And I have all of this stuff in the description about it. It's gonna have celebrities. It's like a lot of fun. There's cosplay. Oh my gosh, I love it. So it's this November, and I'll put the details in, and I hope to see y'all there. Thank you for watching.